Welcome to Reset, the podcast where we go beyond behavior, beyond labels, and beyond punishment, to understand what children are truly trying to say. I'm Nabawoya, and today we're talking about something that completely changes the way we understand children. The difference between behavior control and emotional safety. Because many adults believe that if a behavior stops, the problem is solved. But is it? If a child stops telling lies because they're afraid, have we taught honesty? Or have we simply taught fear? Imagine this. A child accidentally breaks something important. Maybe a glass, maybe a favorite toy, maybe something valuable. The child freezes. Their heart starts racing. Not because they're thinking about honesty. Not because they're thinking about responsibility. They're thinking about one thing. What is going to happen to me? Will someone yell? Will someone shame me? Will someone tell me I'm careless? Will someone be disappointed in me? And in that moment, the child's brain is not focused on learning. It's focused on protection. And that's where behavior control and emotional safety begin to separate. Behavior control asks, how do I stop this behavior? Emotional safety asks, what is this behavior trying to protect? Behavior control focuses on obedience. Emotional safety focuses on connection. Behavior control wants immediate results. Emotional safety builds long-term trust. And that difference changes everything. Let's talk about lying. Many parents come to me and say, my child keeps lying. And often they want a strategy that will stop the lying immediately. But here's the question I always ask. What happens when your child tells the truth? Because that answer tells us far more than the lie itself. If telling the truth leads to anger, the child learns fear. If telling the truth leads to humiliation, the child learns protection. If telling the truth leads to rejection, the child learns hiding. And over time, lying becomes less about manipulation and more about survival. This is important. Children are incredibly adaptive. They learn from patterns. If honesty repeatedly feels dangerous, their brains naturally look for safer options. Not because they are bad, not because they are dishonest by nature, but because human beings are wired to protect themselves. Adults do this too. We hide mistakes. We avoid uncomfortable conversations. We protect ourselves from shame. Children are no different. The difference is that they are still learning. Now, this doesn't mean we ignore behavior. It doesn't mean there should be no boundaries. Children need guidance. Children need accountability. Children need limits. But accountability is not the same as fear. In fact, fear often interferes with accountability. Because accountability requires honesty, and honesty requires safety. Think about that for a moment. If a child is terrified of your reaction, they are less likely to tell you what really happened. Which means fear actually blocks the very thing we're trying to teach. Let's imagine two different homes. In the first home, a child admits making a mistake. The response is immediate anger, yelling, criticism, shame. The child learns, never let them know next time. Now imagine a second home. The child admits making the same mistake. The adult takes a breath, stays calm, and says, thank you for telling me. That took courage. Notice something important. The mistake still matters. The consequence may still exist. But honesty is recognized, and the relationship remains safe. That child learns something very different. They learn that mistakes can be discussed. Problems can be solved. Truth is welcome here. And that brings us to one of the most powerful ideas in parenting. Separate the mistake from the child. A mistake is something a child did. It is not who they are. There is a huge difference between saying, you made a poor choice, and saying, you are irresponsible. One addresses behavior, the other attacks identity, and children absorb identity messages deeply. The words adults use become the voice children eventually use with themselves. Another way to build emotional safety is to respond to honesty with appreciation. Even when the truth is difficult. Especially when the truth is difficult. Imagine how much courage it takes for a child to admit, "Yes, I did it." Or, "Yes, I broke it." Or, "Yes, I lied." When children choose honesty despite fear, that moment deserves recognition. You can say, "Thank you for telling me. I know that wasn't easy. I'm glad you came to me." Those simple words strengthen trust. And trust changes behavior deeply. Another important principle is modeling repair. Many adults unintentionally teach children that mistakes are unacceptable. But mistakes are part of being human. Children don't need perfect adults. They need adults who know how to repair. Adults who can say, "I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I want to do better." Because when children see healthy repair, they learn that failure is not the end of the story. Growth is possible. Connection can be restored. Relationships can heal. And perhaps one of the simplest changes we can make is asking better questions. Instead of, "Why did you do that?" try, "What happened?" Instead of, "What were you thinking?" try, "Help me understand." One creates defense. The other creates dialogue. One closes the door. The other opens it. And when children feel understood, they become more willing to communicate honestly. The goal is not raising children who fear consequences. The goal is raising children who trust relationships. Children who know they can come to us when they fail. Children who know they can tell the truth when it's hard. Children who know that mistakes do not make them unworthy of love. Because when children feel emotionally safe, they don't just behave differently. They communicate differently. They learn differently. They grow differently. And most importantly, they trust differently. So the next time your child makes a mistake, pause before asking, "How do I stop this behavior?" And ask instead, "What does my child need to feel safe enough to be honest?" Because punishment may stop behavior, but trust changes behavior deeply. And that's a lesson children carry for the rest of their lives. Thank you for joining me on Reset. If this episode helped you see children differently, share it with another parent, teacher, or caregiver. And remember, every behavior has a reason. See you in the next episode.